Hello, I'm Sue, and this is Savage Spiel War Stories. I've always liked the Weird West as a setting, but it's not until the Savage Worlds Adventure edition of Deadlands came out that I've actually got to play it. And it has been memorable. In one recent game, our party was out on the sea in a boat. We'd just rescued a bunch of people, who, for reasons related to ease of VTT token use, were entirely clones of Chuck Norris. Imagine our surprise when one of our rescuees suddenly turned into a wolf. Well, partners, y'all know what's coming next. One of us was going to have to make a roll to know things about werewolves. And this was a problem, because in the history of this gaming group, not one of us has ever managed to pass a roll related to knowing things about werewolves. Doesn't matter what game we were playing, whether it was D&D, Pathfinder, World of Darkness, the Dresden Files RPG. When it came to the subject of werewolves, we consistently knew just two things: that they turn into wolves and they don't like silver. After a while, we started looking for an explanation for this, and what we came up with was that across the multiverse in which we play our games, there exists only one book on the subject of werewolves. It's a children's picture book that we call the Penguin Book of Werewolves. However, this all changed one day in a game of Pathfinder. One of our PC party actually became a werewolf. This was too good an opportunity to pass up. Well, Mr. Necromancer, your plan to experiment on our friend does sound a little bit evil, but on the other hand, it would significantly increase our ability to defend people from these monsters, and he is literally asking for it, so let's vivisect. After a prolonged period of research, some of which could maybe be described as a little bit inhumane, a new, updated work was written. It was named after its two creators and was known as the Sungrass Vade Basic Werewolf Primer. It contained much that was inaccurate, largely due to the party member we were experimenting on being an Azimar, but it was generally considered a significant improvement over the earlier work, simply on the grounds that it had more than 2 pages. Multiverse-wide distribution, however, does not seem to have gone well. Despite the book's existence, future PCs have been forced to fall back on the earlier, less complete work. That brings us back to Deadlands. Imagine our surprise, then, when our occultist made his roll, pulled out a copy of the Sungrass Vade Basic Werewolf Primer and informed us that werewolves turned into wolves, that they didn't like silver, and that they didn't like magic. This was not actually all that helpful, as it turned out. We only had one party member who was actually capable of doing either silver or magic damage, and he had just rolled snake eyes on his spellcasting roll. The rest of us flailed ineffectively at the werewolf, doing basically no damage while barely escaping being ripped to shreds. But it turns out there's one other thing the werewolves don't like, and that's being yeeted into the sea.